Hello and welcome to the Quibber channel. I am Jason, your host. I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas day or holiday. For some people it's just a normal day. I just had a fun stream. Now the thing is this. I've always asked myself why Trevor used to pull my money. What and how did he do it? Never in a million years would I have thought drugs. Now, all type of drugs can be abused, be it alcohol, cigarettes, anything can be abused. I mean, people get into nitrous or whatever it is and everything else. But whenever it goes past the point of control, which with certain drugs is instantaneously. I remember a sad story on Reddit about someone who was very curious about heroin. Very intelligent. Wanted to try it. Went to all the boards on Reddit, got all the information, and everybody told him, no, don't do it, don't try it. And he was like, oh, I've taken other stuff, I'm okay, I've handled it all, I got no problems. You can become pretty much completely addicted to something like heroin on the first hit. And the reason is simple. On that first hit, you basically meet God. That's what they don't tell you. That first hit of heroin, or of its equivalent, will take you to a place that nothing in your life will ever approach. And that's a sad thing about it. Because that's why it's so easy to become addicted. That once you've taken that, once you've had that first hit, you will spend the rest of your life trying to get back there. It won't matter about family, it won't matter about love, it won't matter about care, it won't even matter in the end about looking after your own body. And if you're in a situation like Trevor was, of course I will never know for certain whether or not he did take drugs. I'll never know for certain which one of the two of them this was for. The take if you overdose stuff was for. But Trevor dealt with a lot of pain in his life. The loss of my mum. The loss of Paola, as well as me. Losing them as well. It is not completely out of bound that he would start down a path, or both of them would start down a path beyond alcohol, beyond anything else. This is why these drugs have such a criminal access to them and such a damaging effect on society. To be clear, recreational use of cannabis I am all for. Cannabis and that kind of thing can be used in a way to help people who are ill, to help people who are dealing with autism and stress and so many things. If it was available legally in the UK, I would try it. If it would, if it was in a controlled situation where I've always said that stuff like cannabis and that, if it was decriminalised, if it was controlled by the government, it would be much more safer to take. It wouldn't be cut with anything. You would have to have a licence and things like that. Certain pesticides wouldn't be used on the plant, so you wouldn't be chancing cancer with it. After all, let's face it, I don't care how much you trust your drug dealer friend who's getting you your stuff. You don't know what they're cutting it with. You don't know what. There is no specialist department looking after and making sure that they follow health and safety rules when creating, packaging and thinking and stuff. So yeah, I'm of the camp that yes, stuff like cannabis should be legal. And I think a lot more people in the UK would be helped if it was. I mean, I could never even chance taking it in the UK because it is not controlled. It's not. You don't know where it's coming through. You don't know what it's been split with. You don't know anything. And my brain would not be able to cope with that idea. But when it comes to the hardcore stuff, like heroin, crack cocaine, that's different. These drugs are so addictive, and they aren't addictive because, I mean, they aren't addictive because they turn you into a complete bastard. They aren't addictive because they make your life better in any way. They provide you just a perfect. That first hit will provide you with the most perfect form of joy, ecstasy you will ever have in your entire life. And unfortunately, once you've experienced that, once your brain has experienced that, it will crave it. This is why it's so easy. And this is why people on it will spend money like it's going out of fashion. Oh, the first hit's usually free or extremely cheap. Because the dealers know, oh God, they know how addictive this crap is. They target people like Lisa and other people who are not in the best frame of mind, who are not in control of their full faculties, who are depressed or down or bipolar. They target people like that because they know how quickly they can get them, and then they're an easy mark. I blame the drug dealers. I blame the people controlling this stuff. I blame the chain of command. I blame the whole system that allows it. Because as we saw here with what happened with Lisa, it destroys life. And if Trevor and Lisa, I'll never know for sure. All I've got is circumstantial evidence, but there is no reason to have this kind of thing hidden away on a top shelf in your bedroom if you're not doing something to do with that. And that stuff is specifically used for opioids, to block the opioids in your brain for a short amount of time so that people can get to you. it does make sense of a lot of what happened. I remember that day when they said when the social worker came in and said she was going to audit the bank account, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, no problems, we can do that. And then after she had gone, Trevor was so bothered by it, and I now know why. I mean, when at 3 a.m. this morning, I did the clean out of the cubbyhole. Now, the cubbyhole was pretty good. I had cleaned out a lot of it before, but I took basically everything out, all the way back to the back, and removed all the old stuff, because I'm doing one last clean out of the house. And hidden down behind some of the back, right at the back, behind the a few tools and behind a few old shoe polish brushes, was 3 of my mum's bank books. For anybody who's never been, I'm very good at seeing things from other people's perspective, and my brain can extrapolate things. And from the studying and talking to people over the years, because you've got to remember, I lived in bad places before I met Paola. I lived in a house that was basically a drug den when I left home. I lived in a place where people would come in at 9 a.m. in the morning after having broken into their first house, sold this whatever they could get to a fence in the area, and bought their first hit of crack cocaine or heroin. And I saw them using. Thankfully, I never touched the stuff myself. But I saw how when you're in the level of addiction that you get with stuff with like heroin, you lose all. It doesn't matter how in love you are. It doesn't matter how much you care about your parents. It doesn't matter who is in your life that matters to you. Your brain has experienced absolute, perfect God mode. Pure bliss. And your brain wants that back. And that overwrites any level of love and care. And it doesn't matter how good you are. It is extremely hard to come back from that. And for the rest of your life, you're in a situation where you are fighting that. So yeah. I don't forgive Trevor and Lisa for what they did. After all, I lost my entire legacy for my mum. All her jewellery, all her pottery, all the things she collected over the years. And the damage they did to this house was destructive on a core level. But now I understand. I understand why tipping trash onto the floor and grounding into the floor wasn't a big thing for them. I understand why stains are on the ceiling and the wall and things got punched and kicked in and that. I understand more because I've seen that kind of thing before. Thankfully, that same side of my brain that is always error correcting, that is always locking me into a path, and that it's the same kind that would never let me take something like that. Although I can admit right now that in 2019, when I was considering end of line, as we call it, so the censors don't shut this down, because we're not supposed to talk about doing that kind of self and ending your life, and that we're not supposed to talk about it. I will never say what I actually found as the perfect way for me to end my life, and that it was 100% effective, and if I had done it, it would have been done without putting other people through trauma. But I did research stuff like heroin as well. As a way out. That should show you how far I've come and how amazing all of this is, and using the coping strategies I've got in place. Because I know so many people like me in my situation end up down a very dark path. Like my favourite and the best mental health expert that I ever had said to me, "How are you still alive?" Because I know people with half of what you're going through, and they're no longer with us. It's saddening. And people who are around these people always blame themselves. How did I not know? How did I not see the signs? Oops, oopsie, oopsie. I dropped my drink. Finding this explains a hell of a lot. And to so many of those whys. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I just had to talk about this today. It's been on my mind. Bye bye for now.